In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your custom domain name. So I've got my website here and I'm ready to launch it. I'm going to click domains in the top right, and if I haven't already, I'd click new application and I'd set up an application. There is another video on the YouTube channel showing you how to do that. But I have my application here, and if I edit it, I've added in the domain name that I want people to access. Basically, this is my custom domain. One thing that I also want to do is I want people to be able to type in www dot my domain as well. So I'm going to add that in the additional domain. And I can also have other domains, might have .org or .net or any other kind of domains that I all want to end up at this one place. Now the way that this is set up is you have a single primary domain, which is where your website is going to be hosted, which is basically going to be your Fluro website. And then you can have as many additional domains as you like, but you want those domains to forward, and basically if someone visits one of these, they'll bounce and end up at the primary domain. The reason why you want this is because you want really good Google and other search engine, let's be honest, just Google, search engine optimization. And Google will blacklist you if you have 3 or 4 websites that all have the exact same content. They'll think you're trying to trick the engine. So what you want is one website and just multiple domains all end up at that site. So you can choose whether you want that to be www. Or whether you want that to just be the root domain without the W. Entirely up to you. But for this one, I'm just going to have www.forward to this site. So I'm going to hit save, and now that I've got my own custom domain name here, I need to add the following DNS records to activate my site. So I can roll over these, and I need to add 2 A records. Now for this website, I'm using GoDaddy, which is where we've registered the domain, and I'm going to go in and I can see I've already got a few records here. I actually want to click edit on this, and I want to copy this IP address over here just by clicking the first IP address, and I'm going to paste it in to here. And the TTL, I can just leave that as 600 seconds, or I could make it 60 seconds. Nope, they obviously have a minimum there. And sometimes it's going to ask you for a host, and then ask you to points to. Other services like Namecheap or Crazy Domains, they may call it a name and a value or something else. But basically you have the host and then the IP address it points to. The host, sometimes if you want it to be the raw naked domain, which is basically just no www dot in front of it or anything like that, just that domain name, you may have to put an @ in the host or the name, or some services may let you leave it blank, but in GoDaddy I think they want you to have the @. And I need to add another one as well, which is basically going to be another A record with the @ for the host, and I'm just going to click and copy that second IP address and paste that in there, and then hit save, and you'll see we've got 2 A records there. Now another common pattern would be to have a CName, which is basically a subdomain, www. For instance, and then have that point to your @, which basically means they both end up at the same place. That's pretty typical. But another thing you may want to do is click add a CName and put a wildcard, so just an asterisk in there, and then point to @ and hit save. And what that means is you actually don't even need the www. Anymore, so we can even get rid of that. I'm not actually, there we go, the trash, so we'll get rid of that record. And that means that anything dot, in this instance rotieislandhuts.com, including www, will point there. So that just frees you up to be able to easily add new apps, check-in stations, other websites as subdomains in Fluro, and they'll just work. You won't have to do this kind of section for each of your extra subdomain apps. You've kind of just said, look, everything dot, anything in front of it, any subdomain, will end up at the same place, and then Fluro can figure it out. And that's how you can set up your basic DNS. One thing to be careful of is when you're editing this stuff, is you can have multiple kind of A records, and if you're migrating from another platform, you want to make sure that you get rid of the previous A records, as well as be careful about removing any kind of extra records that you don't know about, which might be MX records or emails or other services, like you may be using Google Mail or Office 365. So you want to leave any other kind of records that you may still need intact. You just want to make sure that there's none that conflict with these two A records and the Cname. And now that we've done that, what we can do is, I might just refresh here. Sometimes it can take you a couple of hours, sometimes it can take 48 hours even, until your domain names have been updated. But you can see here that it's happened pretty quick, and Fluro has actually realized that this is all working now, that this is connected and pointing at the right place. So now that you've done that, we can click Add SSL, and if we click this button, this will get Fluro to provision a new SSL certificate, which means that you'll be able to get a HTTPS address, which is required for when you're taking credit card transactions and just making sure that your site is secure. And now that we've got that, we have two new records that we need to validate your certificate. So you can see here I've got some Cname records I need to add. So I can copy this one, go over here and go add. I'm going to choose Cname, paste in this in the name or host area, and then click the value, click that one, and paste it in here, and then hit save. Now that that's done, we just need to wait for Fluro to validate the certificate. That could take a few minutes. We can just come back and check at a later date. But if we visit our site now, looks like I haven't actually published it yet, so I'm just going to hit save and publish. And if we reload our sites over here, you can see we're now getting our website. Now it says that it's not secure, but very soon Fluro will be able to check those records once they've been activated, and it will add the security certificate, and everything will just work fine. It'll forward you to HTTPS, and you've got a fully launched secure website. And that's how you can manage DNS.